Story this morning. Gunshots rang out late last night near Monument Park as police gunned down a telekinetic man during an attempted robbery. Channel 7 has obtained footage from the incident, but viewers need to be warned. It is quite graphic.
Freeze! Put your hands in the air! Put your hands in the air!
Go, 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 go! That poor man!
Welcome to Cordkillers, our mission to report the intel from the front lines of the cord-cutting revolution so you, my friends, have the information you need to be able to watch what you want, when you want, where you want, on whatever device you want. I'm Tom Merritt. We take you now to Brian Brushwood on the scene.
Tom, we have to apologize for the graphic nature of that news footage. We were not prepared for it. We are now getting reports from the chat room that the fact that that man was slaughtered perhaps indicate that he wasn't such a good telekinetic person after all. With more on this, we go to our guest, Lamarr Wilson. Who's busy.
I'm sorry. Was someone shot?
Hey man, that opening footage, that's from a short film that dropped a few days ago called Code 8. If you just search for Code 8, you'll find it. Or you could go to code8.com. I watched it just assuming it was a short film on its own merits because somebody had sent it to me earlier today. Really got engrossed with it. As a matter of fact, it touched on a lot of the same themes that I thought I would love in Supers, but it gives a take that I really bought, and it's got good pacing, and I enjoyed it a lot. Turns out it's also a teaser for a short film that they're trying to crowdfund. So if you go to code8.com, I'm not affiliated with it all, except for I thought it was pretty rad.
You're obviously a paid marketer, Brian.
Okay. Oh, you're killing me, Tom.
Clearly.
I'm a shill for big indie projects.
Yes, from big independents.
From big indie.
Hey, no, we're excited to have Lamarr Wilson with us. Go check out his videos, youtube.com/Lamarr Wilson. There's 2 R's in Lamarr. Let's get right to it with the primary target. So Netflix admitted on Thursday that, yeah, it does reduce the default bitrate of its streams to viewers using AT&T or Verizon to 600 kilobits per second, which is below 480p in most cases. Netflix normally streams at 3 to 5 megabits per second, and 3 will get you at least 480p. In May, Netflix intends to release a data saver application that will let customers choose what video quality they receive on mobile. T-Mobile limits streams of its partners to 1.5 megabits per second, which is definitely 480p. And Sprint used to restrict videos that were streaming on its network to 600K until last year when it stopped. So basically, Netflix was letting T-Mobile and Sprint do their own thing because they already limited stuff and were trying to keep people from running up their data on AT&T and Verizon, is what they say. But Brian, how does this strike you?
This was an emotional roller coaster for me, man. I'm reading like, oh, what's this? I'm on AT&T. I don't want to be limited to 600. What's that? They thought it was AT&T's fault, but then, wait, Netflix said, yeah, we're restricting it because we're trying to make a better experience and we don't want you to run over your cap. Well, I probably appreciate that and never noticed that it was at a lower rate. That was awful thoughtful of you, Netflix, but you should have told me, which you just did. So that was good too. The only thing that make it better is if you let me control. Oh, you're letting me control it as well. Thank you, Netflix. That's great. It's great. You're great. Good job, team.
Lamarr, that was an emotional roller coaster. Absolutely. The way I told Brian about this earlier today was like, this was a story with a lot of words that made me angry. But then when I put all the words together, I wasn't that angry. How did you feel?
Yeah, this is one of those things where you should definitely click the article when you see this on your Facebook or on Twitter, because if you don't click it, then you get angry. And it was just a bunch of nothing. I thought it was very cool of them to do it once you read it, but at first you're going in like, how dare they? How dare they limit me? They can't do that. I'm Lamarr Wilson. And you find out that it's like, oh.
That's weird because I thought I'm Lamarr Wilson when I read that. That's very weird.
And they've been doing it for 5 years. That's the other thing. It's like, well, if you noticed, it took you long enough to notice. Because their reasoning was you're not really going to notice the difference on most smartphone screens anyway. So we didn't really think it mattered. In the end, I think it is bad practice to limit people's streams without telling them somehow, whether it's, in a FAQ page or whether it's giving them settings like they're going to do. But yeah, I can't be too upset about it because it really didn't seem to have much of an effect. It just violated the principle of make sure to tell people what you're doing.
Well, and plus also, weirdly, let's go back years to wherever this first decision was made. It was probably, we think this is the best way to get a pleasant experience. We tried it with higher resolution. You can't really tell the difference at higher stuff. We, in our test cases, hit our bandwidth cap earlier. We think 600 is just right to do it, so we're going to launch with this. And it's like, well, should we make a big deal about announcing it? No, that would be dumb. Why would we do that? We'll just launch it. People will be happy to have it on mobile, and we'll strike the right balance of not having it be too high resolution an experience to hit their data caps. And now the world has changed. The world has moved on so much that now they're at the point is like, well, this is a little bit weird that you're doing it. And it's like, well, yeah, now. But back when we first launched it, it made perfect sense. So yeah, guess what? We're going to disclose it and we'll update it.
Yeah, it was back in the days when streaming video on your phone was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, wow, it actually worked. That's amazing. So, yeah. Anyway, I think what that means is that we have just saved you time and anger, which you can put a dollar value on and then give to us at patreon.com/Cordkillers.
I'd like to propose that maybe, just maybe, we gave you a little smile along the way. A little bit of entertainment in there. We saved you time, saved you some kind of imaginary amount of money, kept you from being angry, maybe made you a little bit happy. I don't know. That seems like 45 of you would maybe buy us a phone call in 1998. Just throw 50 cents our way for having done that. And you could do so if you head on over to patreon.com/Cordkillers. We are only 45 patrons away from that magic 2K. 45 away from 2K. Just because it rhymes doesn't mean it should stay that way.
And if you are someone who's like, no, I think you guys are wrong about that story and I'm angry, we just helped you to justify your anger.
Ooh.
So you could give us a little something for that too if you want.
Plus also, we don't care about your opinion. If you're not the boss of me yet.
Well, yeah, unless you want to become
if you were the boss of me, we'd care very deeply.
We'd have to care.
See?
Yeah, it's the law. All right, patreon.com/Cordkillers. Seriously, thank you to everyone who supports the show and makes it possible for us to move on to signals intelligence instead of just stopping.
That would be a very short show.
Okay, Redbox is still around. If you go to certain grocery stores or convenience stores, you already know this. You may have forgotten that they partnered up with Verizon in 2013 for something called Redbox Instant, which was going to be a streaming service to compete with Netflix. And that failed. They shut it down in 2015, but they're coming back. Variety says that Redbox is testing Redbox Digital. Instead of a streaming service competing with Netflix, though, this will be a place to rent your movies and TV shows from Redbox without having to go to the actual box. So if you've already got a Redbox account for the box that you get the DVDs from, you could use this and just rent them online.
So this was also a bit of a roller coaster for yours truly, because back in the day, I was like, Redbox means one thing in the consumer's mind. It means you go to the box and you get the disc. Why are they trying to compete with their number one competition by looking exactly like it? It failed. So past Brian was right. Current Brian is aghast because it's like, why are you trying again, still using the Redbox name? Why not just launch something new and compete with a new service? But here's the difference, and here's why, counterintuitively, I think this could actually completely take off. Because Redbox did and does mean go and get a disc, but it also means new releases. The moment they are available for rental, new releases. You heard the Avengers is out. You know that the Redbox is going to have it, and you can rent it when it's first run rental period, right? Or around that time. So now we're tweaking the service. So I'm assuming, this is assuming that all the titles that are available in the Redbox boxes are also the same titles available for instant digital download. Same catalog, because that's the other thing. Netflix is not trying to compete with Redbox. Netflix says older movies, originals, our back catalog, our experience, swim around all you want, all you can eat. That's not the Redbox thing. Redbox is pay a small fee, $1 per night, rent it, and it's new stuff. It's the stuff you care about right now. If that service matches it in a digital format, I think all those old people who use Redbox would go like, so now I just go to Redbox. I'm typing the Redbox on the internet. He's like, don't go to the McDonald's, honey. We're do it digital now. Those people are their customers, and they will be super glad to get the same Redbox experience on their Roku, which they all have now.
Lamarr, is it past the smell test?
Yeah, first I was going to ask, because I'm not a Redbox user. If you go get a disc, is it like the first run, or are they delayed like Netflix was or is?
The impression I get is that they are meeting the same demand that the new rental market is doing. The stuff that you see in iTunes, you know, like when stuff is new and available for rental on Amazon or on iTunes.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Let me clarify that.
Their current DVD.
The Redbox
thing.
DVD store gives you DVDs for rental as soon as DVDs are available for rental, which used to be earlier than digital was, and is these days often the same time. Sometimes digital's out first.
Okay, so they're not delayed 30, 45 days like
no, it's just discs right now.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the service, when I read the article, I think the service is good for Redbox customers. I don't think this is going to do a darn thing to anybody who uses iTunes or uses Amazon for their regular. I mean, unless the price comes down cheaper, which I doubt they can do. But yeah, because that's what they were touting. They were saying we have tens of millions of subscribers. Then yeah, this is a great extra thing for them.
That's actually a really good point, because in my entire description of why this could work, it didn't occur to me till you said it. They're not, I don't think, really trying to compete with. They're trying to be comparable to Amazon and iTunes, but they are trying to figure out a way, because they see that this isn't going to last forever. But this is a way to migrate to a healthy thing that does, again, what they already did. Make it easy for your grandparents or your uncle to pick up a movie while he's grabbing the McDonald's, but this time he doesn't even have to go to the McDonald's.
Yeah, the big questions are, where will people be able to watch the movies? And this is a Variety article saying they heard Redbox is planning this, so we don't know these details. But for this to work, the key things would be, hey, could we partner up with cable companies to put this on the boxes? Can we make sure we get apps on Rokus and Apple TVs? Can we be in the places that are the things that Redbox customers are likely to have? 2 years ago, Redbox customers weren't likely to have much of anything. They weren't likely to have Rokus. Were not that widespread. Apple TVs were not that widespread. They're still not crazy widespread, but cable television makers are starting to put apps on boxes. Smart TVs are de rigueur if they can get on smart TVs. As long as they're where the person who shops at Redbox already has the capability to watch these things, then they can turn people around when they're at the Redbox and it says, oh, you know what? We actually don't have that disc, but you could rent it online at home as long as you have this kind of service.
And think about this. This is, if they're going to attack their own market, I assume there's some kind of enrollment that you have to go through to get. Yeah, I assume Redbox has a list of its customers, and if they can reach out to them, this is the type who have been sitting out the cord cutting revolution. I don't go to your Apple TVs or your Amazons or your Mobis or dot Windows. I do. Those are all services in his imagination.
You started off so savvy,
but then think about how huge, and it's great that they're starting this now, because their big push could be that holiday season when they got the grandkids over, and it's like, well, let me go to the and I don't hold on. They said that you could just open. Well, there it is. Let me just bloop bloop bloop, and now I'm set. I'm old.
Yeah, and I fell asleep before the show ended. But that's okay. Yeah, it's the fact that more people have these things than they used to, that this hinges on. And can Redbox be in those places? Let's gear up and get that gear into Grandpa's house. Grandpa's like, screw you. I've had a Roku for years. It's you that didn't have a Roku. Why you gotta be hating on old people? Vizio has got some new TVs out, and they support Cast from Google. What is Cast? Well, that's the new name for the Chromecast app. Google renamed the Chromecast app to Google Cast to reflect that the technology works across different devices. You don't just need to have the Chromecast dongle. You can have Cast built into your Vizio TV. For instance, update rolled out last week. Google also announced that Vizio's SmartCast P Series HD TVs and sound bars will support full Google Cast. These are interesting TVs. They have an Android tablet as their remote, which you can do cast right from there, or you can use your Android device or even your iOS device to cast to the Vizio TV, which again has the Chromecast-like casting ability built in. 50-inch Vizio P series starts at $1,000, 55 inches, $1,300, 65 inches, $2,000. And if you really want to go out and you've got a big house, 75-inch version for $3,800.
So how proprietary is formerly Chromecast? And first of all, I think this is a great idea for them to get away from or just call it Google Cast, or eventually drop the Google, just call it Cast. Like, it's like, yeah, but can I cast to it? I've got an iOS device. How do I cast to it?
If I understand it right, and you're asking me a question that I have not properly researched, so I'm going to get it wrong, go ahead and email. If I understand it right, the underlying casting technology that Google is building on is an open protocol, but their implementation in Chromecast is proprietary. So you have to use Google's casting enabled apps to cast to Chromecast.
Got it.
But the Chromecast casting can cast to other devices.
Well, here's and this is exactly what I was hoping to hear, because when I first read this, I was like, why is this not the case? Why is it not ubiquitous 4 years ago? And why didn't Apple already win it with AirPlay? AirPlay from an Apple thing to an Apple thing is real elegant and easy, and you just press the button and let's watch it big. Chromecast came later, but now the openness of it, the fact that they're inclusive, that I assume it's easy for hardware developers to use it, they're going to win this thing. I don't see how AirPlay, as long as they're playing ball in their closed ecosystem, can possibly have the penetration.
All Apple did was not license it out to anybody, and Google has convinced some people to put it in.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And I'm saying that's all it's going to take, because there's going to be one will become dominant and ubiquitous. And I feel like right now, this kind of move indicates that Google's interested in making sure it's theirs.
So I am a 2014 buyer of the Vizio P series, the 70-inch. And that was when they first came out with that line, and they have the apps. And I really like them. Like, I actually use the apps because that's the only place I can get Netflix 4K, because I don't have a box that is a 4K box. And also Amazon's 4K is available in that app. So in this scenario, I will be losing a 4K unless they did something new with the apps. But I got to say, I'm mixed on this, because part of me does not mind the casting thing. Part of me likes to have it built in. I don't have to pick up a different device to turn it on and unlock it and try to find an app. So if I was in the market for a TV, I'm torn whether I would go with this movement that is essentially giving up the apps, the smart store, or whatever. The apps being gone mean they don't have to update them anymore, so that's good on Vizio's part. But I don't know how I feel about that. Tom, you have multiple devices. What's your
I don't use the Chromecast very often, but when we're going to send something to Chromecast or send something to the TV that's not already hooked up to the TV, we do tend to use Chromecast more often than AirPlay. But honestly, one of them will always screw up, and then we'll switch to the other one. So if we start with AirPlay, 50% of the time it messes up when we switch to Chromecast and vice versa. Miracast has been around for a long time as an open standard supported by the Wi-Fi Alliance. Nobody implemented it. I'm curious, Brian, if you end up being right, because Google can put its marketing muscle behind its platform, but I really don't see any wireless standard dominating, because it's still too confusing for people why and if it works. What's really, really, really confusing, I think, a lot of times is you can cast to a Roku from your device. You can also cast to a TiVo from your device. So because when I press that Chromecast button, a lot of times TiVo and Roku show up. So I don't know if enough people know how it works or desire it so much that anyone will win.
Well, here's why I strongly feel like this is the case. Is my friend Brady, we hung out for a weekend at his family's lake house. His dad bought a TV just to get a new TV or whatever, and there was some moment I was about to show a YouTube video on my phone, and I saw the Chromecast button. I was like, oh, what can I cast to? And I clicked on it, and the TV that just happened to be on happened to be enabled. Once that becomes ubiquitous, and when you see it, it's like, oh, there's something around I can cast to. that becomes automatic. And it seems like Google's really interested in that ubiquity. But I dare say we are burying the lead here, because the real story is that they finally killed the TV tuner. Who murdered the TV tuner?
Oh, right.
This television.
Yeah, you're right.
The Vizio TVs have no TV tuners in them. So get really angry about that thing that you think you want but never use.
Yeah, dude. When's the last time you used your television's TV tuner?
Lamar?
Well, see, what happened was, I use the Xbox One's tuner now, so it gets more channels.
Well, and
so
the last time I used it was for the Super Bowl, but only because my kids wanted to watch the ads and get the Super Bowl experience. They're like, "What's a Super Bowl, Dad?" I was like, "Well, I guess we could turn on this relic." And then, of course, there was some moment where I was like, "Ha! Did you see that?" And they're like, "No. Can you rewind it?" I was like, "No." Sorry, you missed it. That's kind of how this works.
On our main TV, we use the TiVo tuner. But on our TV in the bedroom, I have an antenna hooked up to the television's tuner. It has been used once in the past year by Eileen to catch her friend's mom's appearance on The Price is Right.
Aw.
Which was actually, that was
and that's
awesome.
why you have to keep it. She would never let you get rid of that for that
She could
reason.
have gone to the front room. She just happened to be like getting dressed and stuff. She's like, "Oh, I forgot I can get CBS in here." It also was a really bad signal, so in the bedroom for some reason. I don't know why.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
So
but,
any other I'm pretty jazzed about it. It's got 4K and HDR. It's gonna look good.
The Vizio
Oh,
TVs, yeah.
HDR is the hidden thing too. Yeah, it's a pretty good for that price. That's a really good feature to have in there.
Yeah, and the particular review that we read, he mentioned watching. I forget it was, but he did a pitch black room and said in a letterbox show, you could not see any faint gray boxing above or below. It was as if it was true black. And he said it was the first screen that made him consider giving up his plasma.
Yeah,
He
he
used a
actually
pitch black
was
room.
Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used a pitch black room, and in a black frame scene, he got lost and couldn't find his way out.
That's he thought he had been lost into all eternity. Like
All right, we're gonna get to some front lines in a second, but first, Brian, we have a very important message for people.
Heck yeah, dude. Look, we do other projects, Tom, and normally this is the part where I would talk about the latest release over at Scam Stuff. It's gear for the modern rogue, but that modern rogue thing is kind of taking on a life of its own. I want you guys to check out, if you could go to scamstuff.com and you'll see a little link to it. You'll see us doing an episode. But right now, a lot of people are watching Hacking the System because it's on Netflix. In fact, just conversationally, I'm getting so many more tweets, so many more excited people binging the series. Like more people. I was like, where were you when it was on television? And the answer is apparently my people all live on the internet.
Yeah.
It's people are telling me that they open up Netflix and it's showing as trending, Hacking the System and stuff. And people are like, well, is there going to be a second season? And I don't know what the future holds. All I know is that the more popular it is on Netflix, the more likely we can make it a Netflix original and get someone to pony up money. We talked about stories like this, but in the meantime, we're not waiting. Both me and Jason Murphy are continuing to do essentially what we did on Hacking the System, only under the name The Modern Rogue. You'll see awesome little 7 to 12 minute episodes, little segments of us trying all kinds of dangerous stuff. I'm so proud of them. They're coming along so well. They're really great. If you go to the Scam School channel, you'll see every Thursday we have a new episode of The Modern Rogue, and I would love it if you guys would check it out.
Yeah. Hear that, Reed Hastings? Ted Sarandos? Write Brian a check. He's already making the shows.
I mean, if you could write Kanye a check, you could write Brian
Right?
Brushwood a check. All right.
Compelling
It just
rhetoric.
makes
Real
sense.
simple.
Yeah. It's
Absolutely.
just making sense. Let's get on to the front lines now.
Front lines.
So many front lines. 2 Chrome browser extensions are out that will help you with your Netflix viewing. One called Flix Assist clicks the continue watching button for you and removes the 30-second countdown between shows when you're binging. The other extension is called Netflix Party. That one lets you sync your Netflix watching with someone else on the internet and then adds group chat so you can all talk about it while you're watching it.
These are really, really good solutions to really, really dumb problems. It makes me upset that there's not just a built-in thing for the experience. Will you bother? Let's say this genuinely solves a problem, but will you bother to install this extension, Lamar?
No, because number one, I'm surprised people watch Netflix on their computer. Like I'm serious. I'm just old school. I'm a TV person, or at the minimum, it would be on a tablet. I've never used Chrome or my browser for
All of my
Netflix.
best displays are hooked up to computers, so it's like if I watch it.
Okay.
And plus, also, I have kids running around the house, so if I want to watch anything adult, it's not in the big living room where they're shouting the F word every 5 seconds.
Okay.
So I am the target demographic, but even I won't bother to to do that. I'll just click the buttons. What about you, Tom?
I'm more like Lamarr in that I don't really use Netflix and Chrome, but that's why I think this is the right way to do it. Netflix shouldn't waste their money creating this stuff, but they should also encourage people to go out and use the Chrome browser and the Firefox browser to create extensions that provide these functions for the people who need them. I think this is awesome. This is the system working, in my opinion.
Vimeo's Roku app can now handle transactions, meaning you can pay for Vimeo's on-demand shows without having to use another device. Vimeo also added adaptive streaming support. This is great news for everyone. I would love to read the tea leaves and see what that means as far as how stuff's going for Vimeo. You know, this is the kind of thing you bother to put resources to collect the little nooks and crannies and create a unified experience when you have the resources to do so, which I guess means it's good, and it's good for the kind of content that we see over there.
We should all be migrating our content to Vimeo, where all the people who make money watch things.
Yeah, and we should allow people to pay for like the extended cut of Cordkillers, which is like 10 seconds long, and we just go bye at the end.
Well, no, we make a witty remark about a Criterion Collection movie, and then we say bye.
Works for me, man.
No, I think this means that Vimeo feels confident about their originals. It doesn't necessarily mean they know whether they're going to do great or not, but they think they will.
Well, or at the very least that it implies that they recognize that's part of their brand and their ecosystem. In a world where, high maintenance can go from a free short to a paid series to a HBO series, they recognize that their branding, much like YouTube is an incubator for a certain type of entertainer, Vimeo is an incubator for certain types of storytellers.
Starting April 25th, Nielsen will break down viewing by device. Devices tracked will include the Apple TV, the Roku, Fire TV, Chromecast, Xbox. They already do a tracking of these kinds of devices, but it was all lumped in together. So now they'll be breaking it out. They'll also have something called total use of television, which will track smart TV use along with over-the-air and cable viewing metrics, so that if you're using the smart TV for anything, they'll be able to show this is how often people did that.
Does Nielsen publish all those numbers for free? Is this something we're going to get our hands on, or do they sell it
Nielsen sometimes allows some of their numbers to go for free, but the majority of their business is selling the numbers to people who want to use them for whatever they use them for.
So we were talking about this before the show. I was asking who are the customers going to be, because nobody does ads on online, but you point out that there are plenty of people who do ads. Hulu, CBS original stuff. They want very much to know what people are watching on their computers.
Yeah, and even the authenticated apps from like ESPN and ABC have ads in them, and so if they can look at this and say, oh, these are the popular platforms, this is where we need to make our authenticated apps. These are the things that we need to know. I mean, it's not quite ready for the advertisers yet, but it is ready for networks to be able to say, this is the stuff people are actually using, and it's another step along the way to that unified. Which Nielsen also has a product for, that unified metric that says we don't care how they watched the show. This is the show they watched. And to be honest, they don't care how they watched the ad in the show. This is the ad they watched.
Right. TCL started selling their 4K TVs with Roku built in on Amazon last week. The 55-inch TV is $600, and the 65-inch one is $1,000. 4 more sets were announced, but no release date was given. Those will come with a headphone jack in the remote. That series starts with the 43-inch set for $499.99, a 50-inch model for $599.99, and a 55-inch for $699.99, and a 65-inch for $1,100. Oh, wait, sorry. Nope, $1099.99.
Ooh, yeah, save me a penny. Nice. All right, so Vizio or TCL, Lamarr?
I know Vizio. I've had Vizios. I'm terrified of, I don't even know what TCL, I know it's a Chinese manufacturer, which it could be good, but I've never heard of them.
Man,
I'm gonna stick with what I know.
Can I tell you, for the silliest thing, like we redid the studio, so I'm farther away from all the monitors, and it's hard to see people. Like right now, I'm looking at 2 Skype instances of you guys. You look about this big. I'm thinking like $600 make you go from 37 inches up to 55. We might be able to find that in the budget if we get 45 more patrons.
Yeah, and then be able to watch Crackle on it because you got Roku built in.
That's true. I'll never do that. I'll just
No
watch
one
you.
watches Crackle.
Hey, now, folks who love Crackle, we respect you, okay? Don't.
The emails are coming.
Yeah. Hulu launched an app designed for the Samsung Gear VR headset, available in the Gear VR Oculus store. It includes normal content as well as 25 exclusive original VR shows and films. Those are available even if you're not subscribed to Hulu. So if you're like, I've got a Gear VR, but I don't pay for Hulu, go ahead and download the thing and watch the VR stuff at the very least. Hulu says it's the first of several VR apps for different platforms. And then when you're watching the regular Hulu stuff, if you are a subscriber, you can choose your setting. There's like a theater setting, there's a beach setting. I can't remember all of them.
This is a smart move for a couple of reasons. First of all, a lot of people, I know that I watch a lot of Hulu in a window while I'm doing other stuff. But the idea of a high fidelity experience instantly available for free for people is a great idea. But more importantly, what's the one thing you want to do the moment you drop $800 for a Vive or an Oculus or whatever? You want to get as many different apps doing as many different things as possible. And being first in that space, you're going to show up in the reviews. More people are going to be aware of you and your service, and more people are going to give you a try.
Yeah, and Hulu says they're working on it for those platforms too.
It's good.
What are you going to say, Lamarr?
Oculus. No, I need to get an Oculus. I know it just came out today. I didn't pre-order. I didn't do anything. I ordered the PlayStation one like you did. But other than that, I am so far behind on VR. It's crazy.
I actually tried out an HTC Vive this weekend, and it was pretty comfy, I have to say.
Okay. Comfy or so I've heard it called impressive, world-changing, looking in the face of God. Never heard the review of it's comfy.
Well,
didn't irritate.
I figure
it didn't chafe.
People overdo the virtual reality evaluation because we don't really know what it's going to be good for anyway. So I wasn't paying as much attention to the responsiveness, although that was great. Like I felt like I was walking along a branch, right? Which is what I was doing. But I was thinking mostly about how does this feel on my head? Because if I'm going to be wearing this for a long time, I don't want it to be chafing up against my ears. And I pretty much forgot I had it on. It fit really well.
Right on.
Oh, okay.
This was not like when the Midwestern restaurant reviewer damns the Olive Garden by talking about how nice the decor was. Like that's not what I was trying to do there.
That's fine. But regardless, man, I'm bullish on
Let's get
all VR
under
stuff.
the covers with surveillance.
Not like it's all about location. Under surveillance.
I am excited for Voltron. It's coming to Netflix June 10th, and they put out the first trailer, and it looks like Voltron.
I'm going to try really hard to turn this on and see if it takes with my kids without ever, because they have no idea that this was a property from 30 years ago when I was a kid. I just want to see if it stands on its own. And I think it may, because remember, we got a lot of people who worked on Legend of Korra and Avatar: The Last Airbender working on it, and they know how to tell good stories.
Are you a Voltron fan, Lamarr?
I watched it when I was a little. Fan is a little much. Like I don't like have any DVDs or Blu-rays of it. But
So in episode
I'm
3 of
about it.
Voltron. No, you're not like that.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. It looks very much like the original, just polished. So I'm interested to see, are they trying to keep that old style feel and look? Or
Kind of looks like that from the trailer, yeah.
Yeah. I thought initially when I heard about it, they were going to like really up to date it, make it 2016 and CGI and all that. But it's cool. It's kind of that retro look.
Some of you watched Sony's original series Powers on the PS4, and you'll both be pleased to know Season 2 returns May 31st.
All right, and so if I want to see what that should look like, I go to code8.com. Is that how that works?
Well, Sony would not like you to say that.
.com.
But what you're saying is...
And then, well, it's weird because it's asking for me to donate. It says... Oh, I must be real confused. I thought you were talking...
No, Powers. Powers is the Sony-made show on PS4.
Got it.
Netflix has ordered 10 episodes of a remake of the Norwegian series Maniac. The remake will star Jonah Hill and Emma Stone and be directed by Cary Fukunaga.
This was... this is a well-established thing that we do as Americans. We take stuff from overseas and we remake it because no way The Office could be good over here. We have to do it with Americans. Do it all over again.
They say lift and spanner. No one will understand the show.
Yes, exactly. I think it's interesting. And oftentimes we get really good properties this way, and some of them not as good as the originals. But I did think it was really interesting that people lost their collective S word when they started making Breaking Bad in Spanish down in Mexico, and they're all like, "What is this? It's just a note-for-note ripoff." It's like, no, it's a two-way street. Stories are universal.
I think Maniac was made in Norse, which is another reason why they probably want to remake it.
Sure. No,
but you're missing the Cary Fukunaga, like the season 1 director of True Detective, who then left and was not there for season 2.
I did miss that. I totally missed that. If I remembered that was the director of season 1 True Detective, that would have been the thing I was most interested in.
Yeah. Jonah Hill, he's good too. So is Emma Stone.
I mean, that's to be honest, that's why I didn't talk about the talent, is because I only saw a picture of Jonah Hill and Emma Stone, and I didn't think about the directing talent. I apologize.
NFL Films is making an 8-episode documentary series called All or Nothing for Amazon. It follows the Arizona Cardinals through the 2015 season, in which they made it to the NFC Championship. That will be coming this summer. Sports documentary on Amazon. Does this mean negotiations are going well for Amazon? I don't know.
Question, and I'll put it to Lamarr.
Okay.
Why is a sports... You like the sports?
I'm a sports guy sometimes.
Okay,
but I'm interested to see your question. What your question is?
When they tell a true story with behind the scenes and tell emotional tales about a sporting event, it's called a sports documentary.
Right.
But when it's about any other competition, it's reality television. Is this what is the difference between a sports documentary and reality television?
One, you get the guys to watch. And the other, I won't
you know
say
what?
anything
And we're done.
football.
It's all settled.
No, I think I've got an addition to that because honestly, Lamarr has sufficiently answered it. Let's be honest. But if I can add, reality television is when you create a situation for people that's not actually a normal situation. Whereas the documentary is just
let's say you
filming
were to
the sports team that already would have existed.
Let's say you were to take
there's less reality in reality television.
Right, but let's say you were to take 10 people, dress them up in ridiculous costumes, throw them into an arena, hand them inflatable objects, and say they'll get millions of dollars if they put it through the right hoop.
Right.
That's not creating a thing to create drama.
You're doing that without the promise of an 8-episode documentary series.
But now we have that. So
with
now...
reality television, the only reason they're doing that is the 8-episode series.
It's fine.
Yeah.
That's it.
Apple Senior Vice President of Internet Software and Services told the New York Times Thursday that Apple's working with Will.i.am, Ben Silverman, and Howard T. Owens on a TV series documenting app makers. Maybe it's a reality television series about app makers. I don't know.
No, man,
Apple
this
has
is a
previously worked with
documentary.
partners like Vice to make series related to music. Silverman brought the idea to Apple, and Eddie Q said, quote, "This doesn't mean that we are going into a huge amount of movie production or TV production or anything like that." So Apple's totally doing TV production.
Right,
yes,
yeah,
yes, they are. And by the way, before I get the hate mail, the answer is it's all reality television, all the way up to CNN. CNN is just reality television. It's literally reality television.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Apple. Well, and this is interesting because Ben Silverman brought it to Apple and Apple said, yeah, why not? I don't think Apple does want to get into general production yet.
But this is a good dip of the toe in the water and teaming up. I mean, you could do a hell of a lot worse than teaming up with Vice. I think they're making some really
that's
smart...
the next story. Apple's teaming up with Vice on a 6-episode documentary series called The Score that looks at local music scenes around the world. Examples including techno in South Africa, hip hop from Native Americans in Minnesota. And that first episode about Minnesota is up to stream now on iTunes.
That's a nice compliment to Beats One, which no one listens to. So that might get people to start listening. A good marketing reality
it's worldwide,
show.
Lamarr.
for Beats One Radio. Yeah,
but it does make sense with their concert releases. They just put out like their second. Last month, I believe.
It's what Apple does. They're like, we are definitely not doing this until such time as we start doing it.
Yeah, which is a smart position to take always.
Lamarr, what have you been watching these days?
I haven't watched as much as some of you. I was looking at some of your lists. I'm like, wow. Okay, so Supergirl, I'm all caught up. Tonight's the big show, isn't it?
I had to catch up for the same reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last
So
crossover.
I'm all caught up. I'm caught up on Flash, Arrow, Agents of Shield. I did not watch yesterday's Once Upon a Time, but I'm still. Last time I was on the show, I said the same thing. Why am I still watching Once Upon a Time? It's the show that I want to leave so bad because it's so horrible, but because I like fairy tales, I can't leave. And
then Once Upon a Time shows up is like, hey, it's Sunday night. You bored? You want to just hang out? I'm Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. And the last thing, I'm 3 episodes into House of Cards. I want to finish it this week because then I want to hit Daredevil, and then Game of Thrones comes in the next week or two, right?
Oh yeah.
So,
Is that already upon us?
April is coming.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. So I want to get ready for those. I like to do the Netflix shows one at a time. So most of my friends have finished Daredevil. I'm still trying to get House of Cards out the way first. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to whatever I'm gonna catch up. I got to catch up on now because Bonnie and I are one of those maybe 1 or 2 episodes per week couples, and there are certain things Bonnie doesn't want me to get past. So we're watching Better Call Saul all the time, and as a result, I'm still stuck on episode 2 of Daredevil. I would love to. Maybe we'll just have a conversation about me plowing through that, getting through all of House of Cards. And but I'll tell you what, I did watch another episode of Justified. We'll talk about that. 11/22/63. Man, oh man, I'm out, Tom. I was watching it last night. I got to 45 minutes, 15 minutes left in the episode, and I realized I went to bed, but then I was like, well, I kind of want to know. And so I went and I looked up an episode summary and scrolled down. I was like, well, I guess I'll watch it tomorrow morning. It was just homework, and we'll talk about it more
There's
later.
only 1 episode left, too. That's really interesting.
Jeez, I wonder if we'll care.
Yeah. Well, more to come in spoiler in time. And anything else before? I mean, I've been watching the things we'll talk about in spoiler in time.
Yeah. But also Zootopia. I watched Zootopia last week. We'll talk about it in spoiler in time for all the spoilerific reasons. Man, oh man, does Disney have some magic script writing sauce? It might be the tightest script since The Incredibles, which I know was Pixar, not Disney. But
Did you go with your kids or you?
I did go with the kids.
Okay.
But meanwhile, like they're just wizards, and I'll give the specifics later on. But it's like nothing's done without a purpose. Everything has a deeper meaning. I know I missed so many nuances and details that I can't wait to watch it again to piece it all together. Yes, everything is tropes, everything is predictable, but they figure out a way to sneak so many great surprises that it really delighted. And visually, it's just such a meaty treat. I love it.
100%
I want to
agree
see
with
it
you
now.
there.
Sheesh.
Yeah, go see it. It has a bat in it, and it takes place in a metropolis. So, that might be a better option. Just saying.
Are you all
Bat
talking
doesn't
about
have a
this
very
this
big
week?
role, so I don't want to overpromise.
Are you all talking about the big 400 million?
We'll definitely talk about that when we get to the movie draft update and spoiler in time. But yeah, I did not see Batman versus Superman. Did you, Lamarr?
I did. I went Thursday night.
And
I enjoyed it. Like I shouldn't say I'm very simple to please because it sounds like I'm like just turning my brain off. But if you go in there with the right like motive of I'm gonna sit here and watch an enjoyable comic book movie, then I enjoyed it. Yeah, there was a couple of parts that were a little silly or long or whatever, but I sat there and smiled through most of it. Lex was weird, but when you find out, I'm not spoiling anything, but when you find out his brilliant plan at the end, you're like, whoa, how did he put all that together? And I don't know. And Wonder Woman, of course, was just so hot. So, and she was good too. Like she's a good actress. I didn't think Gal Gadot, I don't know, would be a good actress for a good fit because I'm from the Linda Carter era. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie.
All right. Well, there you go. You're the second person to give me that sort of like, hey, you know what? I watched it. I enjoyed it. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe 4 people.
My favorite take was Scott Johnson tweeted, if you hated the movie, you're 100% right. If you love the movie, you're 100% right. It's like the folks who love it for reasons that are irrelevant to the people who hate it.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That's the point.
Likewise, well, not likewise. The other things that I watched, I've been watching Venture Brothers Magicians. We're still making our way through Daredevil, watched a couple more episodes. But the one I'm most excited about is Supergirl, which I also caught up with, as I mentioned, and Vinyl on HBO just keeps getting better and better. I'm more and more intrigued with that storyline every week. So I think that unfortunately HBO isn't getting out of it what it hoped. It's just not generating buzz for whatever reason, but it's a really good show. What are you on the lookout for, Bryce?
Hey, we got a letter from Jake from Chicago this week. He writes to tell us about the 100. He says, you guys should check out the 100. It's a post-apocalyptic drama where a nuclear war has destroyed the Earth, forcing humanity to space. Now, 150 years later, to find out if the Earth is still habitable again, they send 100 juvenile delinquents to test the environment. The first 2 episodes take some time to develop things, get the characters right, and shake the CW awkwardness. But as the show continues, it becomes a very harsh Lord of the Flies type drama. He writes, I was skeptical about the show being that it was on the CW, but after those first few episodes, I was hooked watching the first season in one day. The show has only gotten better, and as time goes on, lives very much by the saying, anyone can die. I can't recommend it enough and stand by that if it were on a cable channel like HBO, AMC, or FX, it would be just as popular as Game of Thrones. Love the show. Jake from Chicago. Seasons 1 and 2 are streaming on Netflix right now. Season 3 is currently airing on the CW and is available for purchase on most major digital video services.
Big talk. We need people to dive in.
That's a lot of big talk there.
I'll tell you what. Let's take 100 of our fans and we'll send them in to watch the 100, and we'll see which one of them survive and come back and tell us it was good.
Excellent. Got something we should be on the lookout for? Email us, cordkillers@gmail.com. Let's get to some dispatches from the front. Take it away, Brian.
Scott Lewis says, great podcast, guys. Yours is the first one I've supported. Count me amongst the hopefully now 2,000 patrons. Well,
getting there.
Making strides, Scott. We're getting there. Baby steps. He says, just a note on the PlayStation View. Someone on the show a few weeks back mentioned that you can't move your PS4 from location to location. Just as a warning, according to their FAQ, this applies to any TV-connected device. I'm sitting in a hotel with my Fire TV stick and just looked this up. So other than that, it's been a really great experience. I'm in Miami, so after AT&T kicked us off their network and credited our ETF, we signed up. In Miami, I have CBS, Fox, NBC Live, but just on demand for ABC, I have both local Fox sports channels and, unlike Sling, 5 streams at a time, not just one, for 75 megabit cable modem service at $49.99 and a $55 for the View. I'm saving a fortune, and unlike Uverse 45 megabits service that was often 3 megabits, Comcast has been delivering 90 megabits at 75 megabits pricing. Over-delivering. This is the future. I never wanted to cut the cord because I had bundles. I wanted to cut the cord because I hate cable boxes. A couple of Fire TVs I wanted anyway is a different story. Oh, wait, I read that entire last paragraph awkwardly, but I think you get the point. Thank you very much, Scott.
And then Noel also was very pleased with his PlayStation View because of it comparing favorably with the cable service in his area. He says after the trial service, I'll probably drop down to the core plan to keep IFC and Sundance, which are not included with access. But currently all channel plans are discounted by $10. By the way, it only cost me $0 after the first unit I got for $90. Talking about his Fire TV malfunction, and they refunded my original purchase price. He says, any insight into how Sony managed to outdo Dish-owned Sling would be great. Did y'all watch the latest episode of Black Mirror? You'll never look at your personal spousal relationship the same way again. It seems like a non sequitur, but I think he must have just watched Black Mirror in his PS4. Basically saying like, wow, I might get a PS4 now because I'm enjoying PlayStation View on the Fire TV so much. I think they're getting some Fire TV fans to do this. What Sony did is gave up a lot more in cross-platform compatibility. So while Sling only works on one device at a time, your Sling subscription is the same if you're on a phone, on a tablet, on a Roku, wherever you're getting it. Whereas what you'll find with PlayStation View is they went with a more traditional cable TV model, which means when you're watching on a tablet or a phone, you're going to see a bunch of channels that aren't available. So it's kind of the TV everywhere thing you might get from your cable company. Other than that, it's probably just Dish being a satellite TV provider caused them to have to not give in to certain demands on the payment side that Sony, not being a TV provider at all, was like, yeah, just write the check. Let's get this going.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, and finally from Alan, he says you should not mute yourself. Sorry. He says, Brian and Tom, when Brian said Fandango is new movies and Fandango now is old movies, I was thinking maybe they should have called it Fandango then. Alan, we will forward that over to Fandango and Jeff Kanata.
Fandangon. Yeah, finally, before we get out of here, I want to mention that catching up on Supergirl, Lamarr, I decided to pay for a month of CBS All Access because we had Supergirl on my TiVo Romeo. We don't pay for the extra bucks you need to move those videos off of the TiVo Romeo. So when my wife was watching something on the TiVo Romeo, I couldn't watch Supergirl. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I could buy a couple episodes. I could pay $6 for the month and watch Supergirl. Thankfully for me, I was caught up to the point where the Supergirl episodes were available. But had I not been, I would not have been able to watch the first half of the season because CBS, on the CBS app that you're paying $6 a month for, not only shows you commercials that you can't skip, but also doesn't give you access to all of the episodes of its currently airing shows.
But it's called All Access.
Right?
This is surprising because I was thinking about signing up for it at one point. I thought you could be able to go back and catch up. So you cannot do that. Wow.
No, apparently, I guess what they're thinking is we don't want somebody paying $6 watching all of Supergirl in a month and then canceling.
Well, yeah,
but what you're getting is nobody pays $6, nobody watches, and then nobody has to cancel. It's great. You're so worried about your canceling problem is fixed. Nobody will subscribe.
Now, older seasons are there complete. So maybe after Supergirl season 2 premieres, all of season 1 will be available. But you know, this changes my calculus quite a bit about signing up for CBS All Access because I'm like, well, it's only $6 when Star Trek comes out. You know, maybe I should just have it and I can get live TV through it because I live in one of the markets it supports. But now it just seems like it's something I should cancel at the end.
Well, and keep in mind also that the complication is that it's a Warner Brothers production is Supergirls, right? That's what they're saying in the chat.
If it doesn't matter who produces the show.
Right.
If it is available on Hulu, you usually have like a large number of the episodes available.
Right.
Going back. So it could be, you're right, Brian. It's fair to bring up. It could be the production company saying, well, we have other side deals that we want to do once this thing is, you know, off the table. But I think it's just as likely that it's CBS saying we want to restrict it. Could be both. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought it on Amazon as a season pass, and it come at midnight. It'll alert me that it's available, and that's when I watch it. And that's just the easiest way for me to get it. So I'll ignore Twitter tonight.
All right. Well, that is it for this episode of Cordkillers. Lamarr Wilson, thank you so much. Let people know where they can find more of the stuff you do.
Yeah, you can find me on youtube.com/Lamarr Wilson. I am a lifestyle vlogger talking about gaming, technology, all the cool stuff. If you're into Nintendo Amiibo fan stuff, I'm into that. I just posted a video that is YouTube is having some problems today, so I don't even know if it's showing up yet. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. I do a lot of unboxings and showcases. So if you like stuff, come see me.
Yeah, if you like to enjoy yourself, go to youtube.com/Lamarr Wilson. Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. We're live on diamondclub.tv and Alpha Geek Radio Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Pacific. We will talk to you next week.
Hey guys, Tom and Brian here. We just wanted to say thank you to all of our $5 patrons who keep us loud, live, and independent. You guys make Cordkillers the production that it is.
Your name appears in the video credits and appears in our hearts. And if you'd like to become one of them or see who they are, you can go to patreon.com/Cordkillers.
You'll need to do more than just go there, though. You'll have to sign up and, pledge an amount. But
unless you just want to see who they are.
Well, I mean, you could gawk. That's a little creepy, isn't it?
If you want to be a gawker,
let's go.
It's up to you.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.